YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to read a story sent by a female subscriber, and it shows you just how duplicitous and how evil women can be if you do not monitor them, and how they can lead not only your life down a road of chaos, but your children's lives and their children's lives. So with no further ado, I'm going to read this story to you guys, but realize this story is a little bit lengthy, but I can guarantee you if you follow me all the way through this story and you understand what I'm saying when I break it down through the red pill lens, and you yourself with the advice I've given you on this channel and what you should know, if you've been following me for a while, you should be able to decipher a lot of what I'm talking about, and a lot of what she is saying you should be able to see right through it so you can avoid mistakes like this later on in your life. So with no further ado, let's pull it up. I was married to my former husband for just over 2 years, and we had a baby girl when I decided to file for divorce. His family was very controlling and felt they had a say in our lives, and he would not stand up to them. All right, how many times have we heard women use that line, controlling? They felt controlled. They probably realized that this woman was promiscuous and this woman had some demons that she was hiding from the husband, and they saw through her BS. I'm sure the women in the family saw through. But you know what? Usually guys, because of our lust, because we can't control ourselves and our urges, we tend to brush off our family members that tend to see things in other people, and we decide to just follow what feels right in that moment, and usually this leads to our downfall. And I can guarantee you guys, this is what she means when she says his family was very controlling. We were in our early 30s, and I figured that after months of counseling, when he told me that he didn't love me anymore and blamed me for the strain between him and his family, that it was time to exit for my own happiness. After I filed, he stated he didn't mean what he said, but my mind was made up. I even started seeing someone else, which in retrospect was just a way to get over my own broken heart, not a way to deal with what was going on. That's another thing women tend to do right there, guys. She's using you as a rebound. Yes, men do the same thing, but I've noticed oftentimes more than not, women tend to do this, and they tend to do this to good men. The good man usually doesn't realize that he is a rebound for a woman that has dealt with quote unquote bad boys in the past. And now that she's been ran through and she's had a lot of miles put on her by these bad boys, she looks for the good man to come and rescue her and to come in her life and occupy her mind and her time away from her thinking about all the bad boys that she once dealt with that left her. So they're just there as a temporary band-aid until she fully heals. And then once she heals, she doesn't need the band-aid anymore, so she rips you right off and throws you away. So that's what they do. That relationship did not work out, and I ran back into my ex's arms. We never addressed the problems we had. So again, the relationship imploded and I moved on. Never during this time did I ever deny him a relationship with his daughter. We were both very fair to each other. As hard as it was to work with him, I knew he still wanted to be with me when I was completely over him. And when a woman feels this way, guys, she is going to begin to disrespect you and incrementally disrespect you more and more, because she feels like she has all the power, and you've given her signs that, you know what, I can't do any better than her, so I'm going to just deal with her BS and tolerate her BS because this guy doesn't respect himself, and she can see right through that. So therefore, she's going to turn up the disrespect even higher and even more. With all due respect to him, he was controlling too. Once again, we're seeing a common theme here of she's not taking any accountability for her own fault in why the relationship didn't work. She's ran into somehow 2 controlling men back to back, and not one time has she taken any responsibility for anything in this relationship. And I can never be myself around him without him making me feel bad about myself. Of course, because you probably wanted to wear clothes that revealed too much, and you weren't respecting his wishes of saving your body for him and him only. You probably wanted to show it off to other men. And when he tried to, what you're saying is control you, all he was doing was setting barriers of respect, to respect him as your boyfriend, respect him as your baby's father, as your husband. But you decided that that was controlling, and you didn't want to deal with that. You wanted to be a free spirit like most of these new age modern women want to do, and then they complain when they're single. At that point, another wannabe suitor came into my life and appeared to be my knight in shining armor. Notice how she said knight in shining armor. That implies that she is a woman that needs rescuing because she has a childlike princess mindset and she herself is incapable of saving herself, so she must rely on a quote unquote knight in shining armor to come save her. And then she goes on and says, he wanted to be around me at all times. Guys, I told you, do not do these things. He wanted to be around her all the time. He made this woman his purpose. Was great to my daughter. That's good. Brought his daughters around and life was beautiful. He encouraged me to finish my divorce and gave me the backbone I needed against my then husband to not feel guilty and just get the divorce done. Of course he's going to encourage that. Well, the first time we consummated our relationship, I fell pregnant with my son. I told my son's father and he told me he loved me and that we're going to be a family. He went to every single baby doctor appointment. It was a rough pregnancy and they thought my son may have some medical issues and his father was there the whole way, while my still husband was hurt, yet tried to be encouraging and happy for me. Because you cheated on him, but you're just leaving that out in this email. You are still legally married to this man. Of course he is going to feel some type of way about you having a baby so soon with a man you just met while still being legally married to this man. Of course he's going to feel that way. And then his children that you guys had together are also involved in a situation with a strange man that he doesn't even know. And you chose to do that, but you're still avoiding accountability as per usual. He even encouraged our daughter to be excited as she was about her new sibling coming. All the while my son's father put his foot down and demanded that I complete my divorce so that we could marry before the baby was born. Of course, of course he would want that. I was all for it and I asked my husband to quit stalling the divorce. I ended up giving him the marital house and told him that he would not have to pay me child support as I knew he couldn't afford the house and pay child support, and my job paid substantially well that it didn't matter to me. We dropped our lawyers and paid a lawyer to file our settlement on our own terms. Still, my husband stalled. During this time, I moved in with my son's father almost an hour away and we started our lives. My daughter had older sisters and the three of them were just darling. We had the baby while I was still married. Named my son after his father and went on with our new lives. Wow. Then the company that we worked for, the union represented employees, went on strike. My son was 1 month old. I was on maternity leave and worked in HR, so I wasn't on strike. Anyway, I was tasked with caring for our newborn, my then 3-year-old daughter plus 2 preteen young ladies when he had them for visitation. He was out in the blistering cold striking for his union. After 3 weeks, the strike lasted for 3 months, he abruptly stopped going to hold the line. Unbeknownst to me, he picked up a recurring habit of abusing cocaine. His whole demeanor changed and my knight in shining armor was so Jekyll and Hyde that I didn't know what the hell was wrong with him. The strike finally ended and he went back to work and I chalked it up to him being out of work and not being able to provide. Well, 3 days after we celebrated my daughter and mine's birthday, he lost it. We got into an argument on my way to work. He slashed my tires with me and my kids in the car, threw my keys on the roof, attacked me in front of my kids, and held up guns in the air when I demanded that he fix my tires so that I could leave him. Even though she's making this seem like it was so much drama and it was too much for her, she enjoyed this chaos and drama. It gave her that emotional roller coaster, which I tell you women look for. So her emotions were all over the place. If this dude was doing a line every day, I'm sure his emotions, like she was saying, were like Jekyll and Hyde. She was getting a thrill out of it, all right? Whether she's going to admit to it or not, she already hasn't admitted to her faults in any relationship, so she most likely won't reveal it in this letter, but I can guarantee you she enjoyed certain aspects of this chaotic lifestyle. My just turned 4-year-old daughter jumped on him, kicking him and biting him and screaming to get off of me. It was over and I just wanted to survive the day and take my kids and leave. I found out that day that he started abusing cocaine months prior. I did not call the police because he lived in a rural area and I figured he'd end us all in the time it took for the police to get there. He did leave to fix my tires, but I was still stranded till he got back. I grabbed a few belongings for the kids and a few things for me, and as soon as he got back, I left. I called my still husband and told him that I needed to drop off our daughter because something happened, and we left. He could tell by my tone of voice that something bad happened and asked if we were okay. I told him what happened, and he told me that me and my son could stay there too, but I was too scared that my son's father would shoot up my husband's home if he saw my car there. It was a mess, and my still husband commended me for leaving immediately and acknowledged that it must have been hard because he saw how much I cared for him. I begged him to go to rehab, but he wouldn't go for months. It was time to move on and find a new place to live. My still husband pulled me aside and told me that I did right by my kids and his daughters to leave, and that I could have the marital home back. The irony of it all was that he went to his family and told them that he was moving out of the house, and he didn't care what they had to say because I did right by his daughters and that he would do right by me. They actually threw their support to me and rallied behind me to make sure that I was okay. I have been involved in a 2-year battle with my son's father now in family court. He first sued me and stated he wasn't my son's father, but wanted rights if he was. I wonder why he would think that. So she used this as an opportunity to just finalize her divorce. She says, I told my ex-husband that I could not walk into court and be embarrassed because I was still married to him and had a child with someone else. Ooh, poor you. That's the decision you chose. Cry me a river. So boom, he signed the divorce papers that were adjusted, giving me the house and setting a chief support amount for him. And we are happily divorced now. He recently told me he stalled the divorce because he knew I was making a mistake and that I could judge him if I wanted, but he wanted to prevent me from making that mistake. Yeah, because he saw that the guy that you were sleeping with and you're bringing his children around was no good for you. Just like you continue to make terrible decisions with men in your life. My son's father went in a downward spiral and has not seen his son since the incident. Has lost his job from stealing from the company and has not paid child support. Yet he has sued me again, and I had to countersue for him being in contempt when I truly want nothing from him, as I just want to move on with my life. Trial is next month and the domestic v trial is in August because yes, I made a statement and charges were filed. In the meantime, my ex-husband and I are focused on co-parenting both children. He loves my son as his own, and my son calls him daddy and loves him too. If the day comes that his birth father wants to be back in his life, I will cross that bridge at that time. My ex-husband and I are not romantically involved, and we wish each other the best and support each other wholeheartedly. We truly want the best for the kids and want them to grow up happy and peaceful, and they are right now. Yes, they are right now, and that is good, but you subjected your children to a strange man that you did not clearly vet well enough before deciding to bring another child into the world with. And that could have ended in the possible, we'll just put it like this, passing of all of you if he was off his rocker one day after doing some lines. And you're fortunate to get out of that situation, but you yourself as a mother are a terrible mother. Terrible. And you have a proven history of not taking accountability and choosing terrible men, or men that you try to manipulate, and when that doesn't work and you don't get your way, you whine and you leave the situation and you try to get as much resources from that man and strip him before leaving his life worse than you found him. This is a very imperfect situation with many details that I have left out. Clearly, you left out a lot of detail, like the fact that he has a right to question if he is the father in the first place, and the fact that you were a terrible wife, and the fact that maybe you had some fault in the divorce and in leaving him and in breaking up. You didn't take any accountability, not one time in this entire letter. I will tell you this, as much as I could/should hate my son's father for the hell he has put my son through, I wish him the best, and I hope that one day he can get it together for his own sake and his kids. And if that day comes, I will encourage a relationship between him and my son. But my now 2-year-old son knows his daddy is, even if he doesn't know who his father is. Wow. So you just basically had kids with this guy and pumped him out, didn't really vet this guy just to have another child, just to have a son. And, you know, once you pumped him out, you left him, and now he's being raised by your ex. So you screwed both these men in different ways. You really did. I give my ex-husband the biggest praise in the world, and regardless of the issues we had while together, all of that is in the past. Not many men could or would do what he has done, and appreciate it, and the fact that we can effectively co-parent for the sake of our children. I wish you the best. And then she updates the story right here and says, unfortunately, my son's father took his life last year on 6/25/17, about a month after he last went to court. All hope that I had for him to clean his life up for the sake of himself and kids went away. I hope he found his peace that he tries so desperately to find on earth. My former husband has been a great father to my son, and while I know that one day I will have to tell my son the story of his life, in the meantime, my kids are co-parented with love and are happy and healthy emotionally and physically. The kids are our number one priority, and we have a happy existence because of it. I still stress that when kids are involved, no matter who the father, remember they are innocent and deserve love. But you cost this man his life because of your decisions. He took his life because of your decisions to mess around with two men at the same time, to not really get to know this man. And you left out details about how supportive you were when he was going through hard times at work, when he lost his job. How supportive were you? Were you being a positive influence, encouraging him to push through? Or when times got tough, since you already had a child and you continued to bring up the fact that you were taking care of all these children, that you decided to push out and put yourself in a situation that it was too difficult. And you know what? You had to think about yourself and be selfish in that moment. No, you left out those details. I know you did. And what you did to this man was terrible. It was completely disgusting. And you should be ashamed of yourself, and you have to live with the guilt of costing a man his life. This is just a terrible story to read. I'm shocked. Let me know your thoughts, man. I don't even want to have to say like, comment, subscribe. This is just like, it's ridiculous.